Shalom, family. It's been a few weeks since I came to you all, and unfortunately, the tape that I made, the volume was down. I forgot to turn the mic on that particular video or taping. Um, I just want to make a few points and make my position clear on certain things, and then we'll wrap up. And I hope to come to you all again with additional information on points that are related to where the Hebrew was, the Negro Hebrew African, whatever you want to call this, the African Hebrew was prior to the colonies doing what they did with us in Europe. All that we were all over the place in the world, and then after it was decided that we were, because we were plentiful, and according to the statements made by Benjamin Franklin, they were the minority, and I'm pretty certain still are, in all truth. It's not that I'm being prejudiced or anything like that, but I know that I have to make a distinction between truth and error, because what we've been given is a bunch of goods that don't add up, even as it relates to the one that we call the Messiah, because the Messiah is related to this one that I've seen, Jesus. Now, if he's also the one that's called the Mashiach, you have to understand, if that's the case, then we have to look at this. There is, while I was hospitalized years ago, I met a young man. I won't tell you that name because for purposes of keeping things decently and in order, just like it said that Michael did not bring a railing accusation against Hasatan. But anyway, I asked this young man, I said, do you play any music? And he says, yes, I play the guitar. And immediately, by seeing him and seeing the statues and the pictures that I've seen of him, I said, well, he has to do something like that. So then I asked him, I said, well, what do you do? He says, well, I'm a student right now, And then after a couple of years, after, like I said, it took me some years to get back and think from my thought process about him being the Messiah, and because of what's written in Scripture, do not look here or there. I will not be in the I can't think of the word. You all forgive me because I have a little brain fog from especially now. Anyway, from in the inner rooms, that's what it is, and that's what it would have been in the inner room. Anyway, to make a long story short with that. And I was in school a while ago for theology. I hate to use that word, but we shouldn't be using that. But that's what I'll use for the purpose of this lesson. And in one of the books that I have, it talks about this, supposedly the first black student that they had, which came from what was it? It was Shawnee, Illinois. And when he registered. I think I've talked about this before quite a few times, and I will continue to reiterate this because it has spiritual significance. He registered as black, but when they his what do you call that, the census registered him as white. So then a couple of years later, he graduated from there, went to the army or something. He graduated, then he went back to school in the East. Graduated from there. The census registered him as white, as he put himself down as black. And then he got another degree a few years later and became in some school. He became a leader at a church. At a church, and started ministering there. And it said that towards the end of his life, he ended up in a mental institution, and he is registered as being black. So there's something that goes along with that, because let me give you this also, because the woman that I met was not my grandmother, but she made it clear that she spoke. I can't say this right. Let me preface this by saying this. After my father's funeral, my wife and my children and we saw my grandfather leaning on one of the edifices of a building. Okay, but this was years before. This woman who looked like my grandmother told me some things that my grandmother knew, and when my wife had done some things with one of my daughters that she didn't do for the other, she talked about that. She also talked about the fact, she said, now I'm going to be off for a couple of days, but when you ask for me, don't ask for the black one, because there was another woman with the same name that she had. So, of course, being stupid as I am, I went and asked for the black one. Now, I say that to say this, that the one that we have may be the one we have the pictures and the statues of, may be white in color, in Caucasian, from the Caucasus, but in spirit, there may be some blackness. Now, this same guy, there are pictures of him throughout history, with various names, and one being, let's see, what was it? It's over is it Russia? Over in that area, I can't remember where it is right now, but his name is, man, I can't remember his name either, but I told you all before what it is, and he has a son named Michael, and that I find that to be quite interesting. And in addition to that, I've also seen the young man that represents the so-called Jesus from the Greek Orthodox Church. And after watching one of those videos that Benaya Israel put out with the Portuguese and the Spanish putting their lineage out there, and Benaya Israel had done a nice expose on what they say their lineage is. And when it goes back to what they say their lineage is, it goes back to, from all of these so-called queens and kings of the different time sets. Then it gives two men under a tree with, I think they're blue, grayish hair or something like that. And then there's a dragon in the middle. Because I always used to ask, when I talked to my siblings, I would say, well, why is it that I saw two people that represent this so-called Jesus? And I just couldn't get it, but when he said that, it made more sense to me. Now, something is amiss somewhere. And as I was going over the scriptures today to give you all a couple of things to food for thought, I was going over John, where Satan says the same thing that is stated by Jesus. He says, "It has been given to me to all power is in my hands to do as I please," basically. And I find that to be a very, very interesting point that we need to make sure that we keep on the forefront of our minds, because YAUAH also said in John, where when he's about to leave, he says, now is the crisis, a crisis, judgment, of this world. And when you look up that word, what you find, it goes a little bit deeper than just judgment. It means that the people at that particular time were the objects of the judgment. Then it means that he said that he had casted out Satan at that time. So if Satan was cast out 2,000 years ago, then we are to be expecting something. And in the last video that I tried, or it's not a video really, I guess you call it, but it's a taping that I tried to make the other time. I was trying to make it clear that there are some things that go along with the change in the way that the astronomical entities that we have on in this space and time. Also, really quick, since I said space, also that word creases deals with more or less space and not time. So we can see that has been a continual thing. All right, just like it says in the book of Revelation, I think it's chapter 20, where Satan goes forth to conquer, no, that's 6, but he goes forth to conquering, but then it says in 20 that the nation shall be deceived. So if this name has gone forth, just that's why the Messiah said, he said that the Mashiach said, rather, because there are some differences between the Mashiach and the Messiah. The Mashiach said that if someone comes with a different name, then you will accept him, but you won't accept the name that he came in, which was his father's name. So something is amiss with us. And if I'm wrong, then may I be guilty of what I'm guilty of. But I have to say what I've seen and what I know to be the truth. And then if the Mashiach is like he's supposed to be, and the Father is like he's supposed to be, then the things that I'm saying line up, and then what I'm saying is going to be taken for righteousness and faith. Now let me say this. Another thing that regarding the differences between the Messiah and the Mashiach. That was one. Let me just on this paper I have it numerically, but I'll have to change it now because I said one before. All right, but then it says the Messiah is associated with Greco-Roman deities in language. So when we look at that, we look at all those things that even go back to the things that they inherited from Egypt and from the other nations around Canaan land, however you want to pronounce it, and Phoenicia and all those places, and Assyria. So all those things have those same names and titles for the deities that aren't associated with our bara, our Yao. Just like we're told, I used to try to associate myself with the Church of the Assemblies of Yahweh. I think they still have a nice teaching on some things, but the thing is the name I kind of vary on, because that Yahweh is associated with fertility and things like that. When the bara, the creator, Abba, he created everything. It causes the rain and everything. So we have to start making a distinction there. Just like I was listening to a young man earlier, and I was both, I got whipped at one point when I saw him in a hat, and I was in a hat trying to prophesy on there, and I was all wrong on the hat issue, not what I was saying. We're not supposed to be doing that. So if he ever watches again, we're not supposed to be putting anything on our heads when we prophesy. So I'll try to make sure I do not do that again. I was trying to hide my identity, because I try not to show my image anymore, because really that we're not supposed to be doing that. And I try not to do that as often as I can. Sometimes my great-grand, I don't even have any great-grands. My grands try to, I want to see you, Papa. So I'll do it for a second then, but I try not to otherwise. Anyway, then it says the first was the accolades that we give when we're praising and we're worshiping. the things and the words that we say there, they are related to things that are not associated with our Creator. And the titles, the deeds again, those go along with those things that the nations were doing, the nations of the world. The exception is the Hebrew thought. We are to be separate and apart from everyone else. This is why he's coming back for a remnant, a remnant. And just as I was trying to say on the last taping that I made regarding this thing having to do with this real ID thing, there's more to it than meets the eye. There's more to it. And it has to do with we said that it's for the purpose of flight and being able to enter federal facilities. So then if you, most people don't usually go into federal facilities, right? So then the next thing is flights. A lot of people fly. So either you fly or you go into a federal facility. You all hear what I'm trying to say? All right. I think that that's something that they're trying to come down the line with. Sooner or later, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. All right. Now let me get back to this. The number 2 was that the same types of the measuring sticks of punishment were utilized in the name of their Messiah instead of the Mashiach. So you have these hooded demonic torturers. I'm going to make this make more sense in a second, briefly. You have these of the Inquisition torturing Hebrews, women and children included, babies being splashed against walls. So you have these people doing these things. Then at the same time, centuries later, you have same hooded people doing the same things with again our people. And we don't understand the spiritual significance so much. We see that it's wrong and it's evil. Excuse me, but the thing is that there is a connection there. You have that thing that goes back to Spain and Portugal. All right. Then, in addition to that, these sorcerers of Satan, the SOS and the KKK. All right, they have specific titles that they give themselves. Like, for instance, what do you call the thing with the one eye, I can't, Cyclops and things like that. You know, those things go along with mythology, but we have to understand. You have to understand what the Messiah, the Mashiach, not the Messiah, what the Mashiach said about the time. Now is the crisis of the world. Satan has been cast out. All right. So with these things, these SOS and the KKK having these titles that they give themselves to work within their interweavings of things and their machine, they're doing things that are gearing towards a specific purpose and a specific time as well. Everything is coming to a head. And I was trying to say something about the astronomical things. I'll get back to that in a second. The things that were in the past, times past, with the astronomical things, the sun shined and the moon did its thing, you know. But nowadays, we're having blood moons where I can't remember blood moons back in the time that I was coming up, and now there have been multiple within a year's time now. And since I've started keeping the the new moon as the timing of the Sabbath, I've noticed more that these things, these so-called these feasts and everything that come along with what we're supposed to be acknowledging, they come on the days of the either the new moon or after the Sabbath has been established from the new moon. So there's something there that we need to make sure that we're paying attention of. So please do. Don't take anything for granted. Don't just take what I say, but just go look in times past and see how these things have been and how they're lining up. Now let's see. It says that it is important to start noting the position and titles of just did that of the state of these SOS and the KKK, because the titles and positions spiritually have spiritual significance and value. These titles bring truth to myth and of the space and time in which our ancestors lived, and where Satan is attempting to take things these days of the true seed of Abraham. At this time, all right. Now I stated that Satan had said some same things that it said that Jesus said. It's written in Luke 4:6 where he says that. And then there's a reference that gives where the Messiah is saying some things that we need to make note of in not the Messiah. See, this is really with the way that they put things in the scriptures. It's difficult to keep things the way that they're supposed to be because of all of these centuries going forth. Our ancestors were given this, and it's been given to us. So again, what they say about this is what the Mashiach said about in John 12:31, John 14:30. What's said in Revelation? I didn't check that. Revelation 13:2 and Revelation 13:7 as well. And the Mashiach made the points on Matthew 10:22, Matthew 10:22, 28:18, John 3:35, 5:27, 17:2. Okay, let's see. Now there's in that word that's used for power as it relates to Satan in the I think it's the 29. Is it? Can't remember. John 29. Can't remember. Anyway, I think it's 12:29, and the Strong's is 1849 where it says for power. Where's that 4:6? It's probably Luke 4:6 where it says yes, Luke 4:6 where he says that the power was given to him. 1849 is Strong's. It's the Chaldean Hebrew 1849, and it says it's the perfect indicative passive, and the number 24 makes sure that it's the number it's just that it gives for those particular things, the perfect indicative passive. The one says that it's at the time. Then the other makes it clear that it's at this time. But then what I found interesting that was associated, because the one is it's 24, 33, and 34 that's associated with the numbering that gives you the how to look up what these particular things mean in the notation systems that they have there. And number 33 says, it gives an example of being inflamed or burned. Why? Why is that? We need to pay attention to that. Look into this thing a little bit more. We need to look into it a little bit more. All right. Then 34 says that it is written, or it continues to stand. So what that's saying is that the power that Satan was given continues to stand. So we need to make sure that we are leaning and depending on the right one. Because if we, let's go back again to what the Mashiach said, the crisis of the world was then, and it wasn't a particular time, it was a space. The space was given to the people where the crisis or the judgment was given as judgments or executions, whatever you want to call it. So, and with the so-called people of the Hebrews of that day, they had 23 people. I also, in these teachings that I give you, I also keep saying, why did these people zone me, or whatever you want to call it, pan me or not, hit me with 23? That's because, and I notice every time I check the time, it's something 23 too, or I look at something, it's 23. Anyway, it said that there were 23 people who was judgment was passed to them to give the judgment of death, and one part of it was strangulation. Interesting. You think about that, you think about the trees. Then the other was beheading. You think about all of the time that they also cut our heads off at the same time. These SOS KKKs. All right. So we need to put all of this into our arsenal and pray, of course, pray. Something is amiss. Something is amiss. So then I want to give you all some more food. Okay, now we're told that the Mashiach is called the Rose of Sharon, or Sharon, however you want to pronounce it, and the Lily of the Valley. But when you study that, you find that of course the rose is a rose, but you also understand that the Lily of the Valley is a rose. Then you go to these people who call themselves Crucians, who have this secret, secret society. Goes back to medieval time. Excuse me. So, and one of the guy that represents the Jesus of the East, when he came to my house as a plumber, I was talking to him, and he told me that his mother was a Rosicrucian. And prior to that, I had no idea what a Rosicrucian was. And of course, that gave me cause to start looking into that. And when I started up looking up the differences later on as time progressed, and the differences between the name that we call the Messiah, the Mashiach, Yahusha, some people call him Yahuwashi and all that. But the word, the name that these Rosicrucians came up with the edible type of, what do you want to call it? Body, if you will. It's a vegetable type of thing that they have on the body of the Messiah of the Messiah, and on it they have Yahushua. So this is where we get the name Yahushua from the Rosicrucians. I want you to be plain on that. And it is said that Martin Luther was a Rosicrucian. This is also why we have these traditions that have not. Why we as people of the Creator, not the Most High. There's a difference between the Creator and the Most High. Okay, remember that too. Now, all these trees and all this stuff we won't let go of. This garbage that we won't let go of, that has nothing to do with our Mashiach, is wrapped up in a ball with all of this mess. All right, let me make a few more points so I can go ahead and let you all go on. Let me see. Regarding the time that just passed, I celebrated the Passover. Not this month. I celebrated Passover last month around the same time as the time that the of the Shabbat that it fell on, because as I say, the new moons, they start the Shabbat, and that's from that month you keep it on the days that it had given. All right. Anyway, it said that he was crucified on the cross. First of all, as we always say, the word crucifixion was not in the vernacular, nor did they make crosses like that at the time. He was impaled upon a tree, which is why it is so significant for the Hebrew that when we look at our forefathers and our lineage, they were impaled and strangled on trees for torture. And this is, of course, those belonging to Satan impaling the blacks or Hebrews on trees. The term used today for crucifixion, for us, which we're not supposed to be wearing any cross, because that has no significance for us. But what we're supposed to understand about the term, since they want to give it something, since they want to give it a name, but it's called impalement, all right? But for us, it's impalement. For them, it's crucifixion. So let's use their word, crucifixion, and let's understand what it is that they tried to do to us as these dark-skinned African Negroid people, all right? Again, I love all people. I love all people. The body of the Mashiach has given to the Hebrew first, and he is going to bring in those who love him in truth and accept him for who he is, that are awakening along with us. I hope you all get that. All right. For us, the crucifixion, there's a deeper meaning that is embedded in the first parts of the definition. So you have to really start doing your research to get to the crux of it. Now, what it means is that it means a torture of the mind. All right. So the circumstances and the changes or vicissitudes of your life that you are hit with, those things become a crucifixion towards you. That is an impalement towards you. Okay? So that's what that means to us. So this is what we lean on to our Creator, to our Bara, to our Abba. This is what we do. I hope you all get that. That is what it means. That is the impalement. The idea of all this pressure, all this depression and oppression. So I hope you all are getting it. Please do. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see. There was a couple of more things that I want to hit on. Let's see, the Greek Orthodoxy we talked about. We talked about the rosary. cross, and the point that I made about us being in all over the world and being taken because there was a decision that we were too what word am I trying to say? There were too many of us. We were too great. The multitude of us we outnumbered them, and it couldn't be just like the rest of us who came over. We were in this place, and like I said, this all is one place. It's all in one place, and it's just that we have to decide how we want to exit it. So, and I pray to bring you all additional information that goes a little bit deeper, because it all goes back to when I mentioned that about being all over the place, and us. I didn't mention that we were all we were kings and queens and dukes all over the world, and when you understand that the book of man, my mind is so bad. I'm so sorry. It's called the what do you call it? The book that they have over there in England, but it means more than you think. It's the Doomsday Book. It's called the Doomsday Book, but it is the Doomsday Book, and there's a picture I keep telling you all about. Also, when there's a picture of I think he was called Magog, and Apollo or Apollonius going over to Britain with the giant, where the giants were. Okay, but you have to look for it. You have to look for it. So this is why everything is significant. There are still giants to this day. This is why the Mashiach said that we will be in the time such as Noah. All right, and the giants are doing what they're doing, and they've become, since Satan is still he's still here and doing what he's doing, and they can do shape shifting, and believe me, this thing is deeper than it seemed. You all, like I said, you all couldn't hear the last taping that I made, but in it, as I made the point regarding the real IDs, I heard a voice as I listened back to it. As I listened back to the taping, I had turned it up with all the volume up all the way, and I heard a voice said bold, but now I can't hear anything when I go back to try to listen to it. So even if you go back and try to get closed captioning of it, it doesn't make much sense, because the verbiage has been, the typing of it has been on the closed captioning. It doesn't match what I said. So I'll still leave it up just in case I can get the volume up one of these days, prayerfully. All right, let us pray. Father, forgive us first of all sin, Father, and cleanse us of all unrighteousness. Please make your way plain, Father, to us, because there are things, people, spirits going on that should not be. We want peace and harmony in your spirit in our homes, in our lives, in our bodies, Father. Indwell us, teach us your ways. As you said in the book of Daniel, that many will do research and knowledge shall increase. We want to do and abide by you and not fall for the false one, because there will be a false Armageddon. And we know where the true Jerusalem is. It's in where your people came from in truth. We thank you for that, Father. We know that you are a restorer of the breach. And we know that you will not leave us nor forsake us, and we thank you for that. These in your name: YAUAH, Yeshaya, YAUAH, Mashiach, AMAN, AMEIN, CHESED, and EMUNAH. It is so. Thank you, Father.